Yesterday, ESPN's Brett Akamoto broke the news that an interim title fight between Kelvin Gastelum and Israel Adesanya has been agreed to by both parties. The bout is set to go down at UFC 236 on April 13th. Current middleweight champion Robert Whittaker is still recovering from surgery from that abdominal hernia he suffered, and he's hoping to return sometime in the summer. I really like this move by the UFC. It's the right call to make. Should another interim title be on the line? At this point, it's just as well, I suppose. I could spend this whole episode bitching about how UFC titles were once held in reverence by fans and media alike, and now the meaning of the strap has been reduced to nothing more than a promotional tool. Especially that middleweight title. That was one that had a solid lineage throughout its entire history of the division until GSP entered the picture for a brief appearance. But I'm not going to do that. Because what's most important is that the right call was made. The current champion is going to be out for the foreseeable future, so the current number one contender has to defend his spot. And Kelvin Gastelum will do just that against one of the most highly touted middleweights to come along in quite some time. The fact that Gastelum is taking this fight reflects very well on him because it's a huge risk. Gastelum taking this fight shows that he has an intense belief in himself. Just the kind of mindset we like to see from our champions and contenders. It also bodes well for public opinion when it comes to Gastelum. I don't mean to pile on here, but I don't think he did himself any favors parading around with that championship belt the other week when Whittaker had to be pulled from the card. I do understand that he must have been dealing with severe heartbreak and disappointment, training for months on end, traveling long and far, only to have the rug pulled from under him at the 11th hour. But still, it just seemed to be in poor taste. Not to mention the fact that Gastelum's persona doesn't exactly blow up your screen to begin with. It was a bad call, and I don't think it came off the way he would have hoped. It was an awkward situation that did not pay off, but I don't hold it against him. All in all, he seems like a great guy, and I'm a fan of what I've seen from him in interviews. It's just that wrath of the entertainment/McGregor influence era is really strong at the moment. But all that stuff is of minor importance anyway. What is of major importance is that two elite talents of the middleweight division are set to clash, and what we have on our hands is a really great fight to look forward to. Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum is going to determine the rightful challenger for the throne at middleweight, and once we get this interim title business out of the way, we're en route to restore order in one of the best divisions in the UFC. I'm not a big Vegas odds guy, but I have to think the betting odds will open up in Gastelum's favor based on him having wrestling base. He doesn't always use that wrestling base. He does have massive power in his hands, which he does like to use, so who knows. But stylistically, I like this fight a lot. Adesanya's shown good takedown defense throughout his UFC career so far, but we are working with quite the small sample size on that one. You have to think if Gastelum came in with the purely wrestling mindset that he'd be able to get the last style bender to the mat. But the thing is, it's not often we've seen him come in with that mindset. Gastelum has no qualms about standing and striking with people that, on paper, he has no business standing with. But if he's able to get a W like he's done in the past over these guys he shouldn't be standing with, apparently he does have business keeping things on the feet. But there is a reason there's so much excitement and hype surrounding Israel Adesanya right now. The guy is a phenom of a striker and very intelligent and composed to boot. He's one of my very favorite fighters to watch right now because I'm a huge fan of the striking game, and he's out here to win fights but also give the fans what we want to see. What he may not have in the grappling department in comparison to Gastelum, he makes up for in being levels above Gastelum when it comes to the uber dangerous game of striking. The matchup stylistically is a fun one. It's also nice that both of these guys seem to be in the midst of hitting their stride in a very strong way, so it always makes for a highly entertaining affair when we get two top talents competing when they're at their very best. There's no location set for UFC 236 yet, but no matter where the octagon gets set up and no matter where on the card this fight may land, whether it's the main event or co-main event, Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum is a big fight. A lot bigger than most would give it credit for, I think. I feel like we're at a time in MMA right now where it's a changing of the guard in a lot of ways. The new generation is definitely being ushered in, and these two athletes are the epitome of the next generation of fighters, and we're catching them right in the midst of their ascension. Given these circumstances, this makes for a large and meaningful fight.